let's start the speech with a few strategic observations. Notice in proposition 1, a very soft case, it's inherently contradictory for them to say that failure is inevitable, but at the same time, the benefit from failure is exclusive to their side of the house. Note that the entire entire case for PM, so it tells you that, how failure gives you experience, how failure gives you motivation, but note that they already mentioned to you that failure is inevitable, and therefore these impacts are definitely not exclusive. I think actually, the incentive to improve exists more outside the house. I'm going to prove you later, because they do not treat failure as something expected, and they find that because they do not treat this something as expected, they're more likely to improve, to find the causes for this unexpected event, and because of that, we have more incentive to improve. They never really prove to you. Most of the time, the exclusivity of the benefits on their side of the house, and they fail to engage with our narratives in an efficient way. Not that they only dismiss it, our narrative of stigmatizing failure, but it's just because they believe it's not exclusive. I think onto our first clash, about on an individual level. We tell you that actually over-normalize failures and give individuals an excuse to stop trying. It tells people to basically accept your failure instead of, for example, know that it's not a good thing, and from that you can improve. We tell you, and when you actually lose a competition, you feel bad about this, and you know that I shouldn't have lost this competition, only then you would have a motivation to open your past notes, for example, to look through it and to improve. Note that on their side of the house, there's no pressure to do this with society, and I'm going to prove you why later. This benefit is exclusively to their side, exclusively to outside the house. Second of all, we tell you risk-taking is bad. Note that in the status quo is very unstable, no thank you. For example, this economic crisis, inflation, etc. And when they encourage people to drop out of school and they side the house, most likely they're likely to fail. The reason proposition believe risk-taking is a good thing, because this narrative inherently exists, because media only portray billionaires who drop out of school and success, but not all those who drop out of school and fail spectacularly and basically become boring. We tell you, B, not everyone can afford to fail. There are only those who are rich, that are already privileged, can inherently afford to try again and try again. But on that outside the house, when they're stigmatized, it looks like they're first of all, less encouraged to fail in the first place, and because of that, they always desire to succeed, and I'm going to prove you why later they still have motivation to continue. But then on proposition, they tell you they have more likely to success. We already tell you from our very first speech, this debate is not about the accuracy of the narrative, but how the narrative actually, for example, affects people. B, the motivation to continue always exists. First of all, human nature, human always desire reputation, desire status, desire fulfillment, and because of that, they always want to succeed anyways. Second of all, when society stigmatizes them, it means they have bigger incentive to prove themselves. That, for example, when they're stigmatized, they want to prove to others that they're wrong by improving, because humans are egoistic. They don't want to be found as, for example, worse. Third of all, society frames success as something very so sweet. We tell you that when media always portrays success as something so sweet, humans still likely to desire to do this. Therefore, we tell you this likely to be relationships, no thank you, and communities that actively support you, for example, your family. But let's say even if it does not exist, we tell you it's always a societal pressure that pressures you to, for example, to success, and because the desire to success is always greater than the, for example, discouragement by failing, and therefore they're likely to still try and want to engage with them later. But even if on outside the house, people are less likely to try, why is it a good thing? Under the second clash on societal, propositions tell you people are likely to be more empathetic towards people who fail. They give an example of venture capital. We tell you it's most likely to be used as an excuse for failure. We tell you that when governments and companies fail, the impact they create is way too big that they deserve to be scrutinized instead of, for example, being excused. We tell you it affects millions of people, of those under them. No thank you, please stop. And because of that, they should not actually, they should be scrutinized, because only then they cannot, for example, take excuse of my failure is mentioned specifically on DLO speech. Second of all, we tell you that even if people are more empathetic toward people who fail, there's always societal systems that benefit from failure. For example, the bank loans get the collaterals when you fail to pay your debt. Therefore, it means that society inherently benefits from this failure, and therefore it's less of an incentive for people to continue to help you even when they fail. It looks like if you already failed to pay your bank loans one day, it's unlikely for you to be able to do it again. Then C, note that venture capitals are very profit-driven. It means that it's not really exclusive for them to continue fund for those who they found that have potential, even if they're second or third times entrepreneurs. They're still likely to fund, and they're likely to see the capital and the possibilities. No, thank you. But D, even if we say sure, this is true, there's more likely to be empathetic toward those who are failed. We tell you on a smaller, it happens on a very small scale. There's a very small number of individuals who are rich enough to give out their money for those who fail. There's a very few number of individuals who are empathetic and have the financial capacity to actually support them. Let's say, even if everything, no thank you, but okay.
Okay, thanks for strawmanning our case for 5 minutes. The issue is your responses and case still hinge on the assertion that the people's reaction to stigmatization, both internally and externally, will be good. No, they will just quit on your side of the house.
I think them quitting is a good thing. This is what I'm about to proceed. If they fail 5 times, I don't think they should continue trying because it simply means that they do not have a potential in this specific subject. It simply means that they do not have actually talents in this thing, and because of that, they should just opt out of it, try something else that they're actually good at. I think this in itself is a good thing. I don't see why they actually realizing what are their talents. They're realizing that, oh, maybe I'm not good at this after all. I just try a different thing. Why is this so bad after all? We tell you that this is what I'm trying to say. Because we tell you, even if all the harms I mentioned, they said that as people being discouraged, I don't think it's very that bad inherently because they're individuals who are not talented at certain things, and because of that, they should just opt out of it. I think it's better for their long term because first of all, it basically stops them, for example, being internally or externally hurt in the long term. It is like they're also more likely to succeed in other fields, for example, and because of that, it also benefits individual in terms of long term, even if they actually opt out of these fields. It's like even if the idea of venture capital is exclusive, we tell you that the benefits we're able to offer is basically are actually the harms they offer on their side of the house basically overweigh this. We tell you that most of the time the harms they offer on their side of the house is for people to basically to overly normalize failure to the extent that they actually stop trying. They take an excuse of that. We think it's a very tangible impact. We tell you that the benefits they offer on their side of the house are actually very mutually exclusive, but the harms are not. No one thinks how they take an excuse, how they're most likely to accept failure to the extent that they're unlikely to continue trying. It's definitely exclusive to their side of the house, and because of that, we tell you that our counter narrative about stigmatization of failure actually works because we tell you that it actually gives people the societal pressure they need in order to succeed.